So we've already looked at a 10-meter air pistol. Today we're going to be looking at a pistol that is used in the 25-meter rapid fire and 25-meter sport pistol disciplines. This is a Pardini SP. This one specifically is a rapid fire model, and this was graciously lent to me by the fellows over at Pardini USA. Alex, the vice president, this is actually his personal gun. It's really, really cool because he actually used to compete internationally, and you can see that his grips and his barrel here are the same ones that he used when he was competing internationally. So it has stickers all over it from the 2014, 2016, 2015 ISSF World Cups, World Championships, and I think he stopped shooting in 2018. It's really cool that they didn't just send a normal, boring T&E display model. They actually sent his personal gun that has provenance, that has competed at some of the highest level out there internationally. So thank you very much for that, Alex. I've been taking very good care of it. Now, also in full disclosure, with this being provided by Pardini USA, they did not in any way ask me or obligate me to give them like a positive review or anything like that. And really, for someone of my skill level, something like this would be wasted on me. My opinion really wouldn't matter because, I mean, what other opinion do you need to hear other than the fact that every single competitor in 25-meter rapid fire and 25-meter sport pistol at this last Olympics used this particular handgun in some form or configuration. And also in the 2020 Olympics, every single 25-meter rapid fire shooter used this exact pistol. So obviously this is a pistol that has a fantastic reputation in the international shooting community, international shooting sports. So Pardini is a company that, unless you're involved in international shooting sports, or maybe you compete at a very high level in IPSC or something like that, you've probably never heard of. But essentially, this is a company that started out in the 1970s. It was started by an Italian competitor named Giampiero Pardini, and he essentially was not satisfied with the options that were out there, and he was a pretty mechanically skilled guy. He ran like an automotive shop and had machining skills and knew how to run a lathe and stuff like that. So he said, screw it, I'm gonna make my own pistols. I'm gonna make something better than the competition that's out there. So he created his first model, which was a 50-meter free pistol actually, before getting into making rapid fire pistols. And over the years, the company has expanded its line of products to include pretty much everything as far as international shooting sports are concerned. They make rapid fire pistols, sport pistols like these ones. They make free pistols, which are for the 50-meter discipline. They make air pistols, air rifles. They also make center fire handguns designed for stuff like IPSC. They make the GT series, which are chambered in 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 auto, all kinds of things designed primarily as race guns in these high-level action competitions at like the Bianchi Cup and stuff like that. And all their products are still made under the same roof in the same factory. It's all vertically integrated, so there is no outsourcing of parts and labor to other firms. And the company, despite growing over the years and expanding its catalog, still only has like under 20 employees, including Giampiero himself. So it's really impressive for a company that small to essentially have the entire market for 25-meter rapid fire and sport pistols at the Olympic level and the international level essentially cornered. So the first thing I always like to take a look at with these Olympic style pistols is always going to be the anatomical orthopedic grips, because this is probably the most prominent feature of these pistols. The first thing that people see, because you're not used to seeing them on traditional firearms, but essentially these are designed to be perfectly shaped to the user's hand. Now, when they first come from the factory, they actually sort of look more like this, kind of a generic shape, roughly the shape of a human hand, definitely more supportive than a standard grip. It also has a palm shelf here that's adjustable with these set screws. You can move it up or down. And essentially they come from the factory with the knowledge or the expectation that they're going to be heavily modified to suit the individual user. They're going to be filed down, they're going to be sanded, they're going to be filled in with epoxy, they're going to be filed down again, and they're going to go through this process of finding the absolute optimal grip that fits your hand the best, that is the most comfortable, that gives you a natural sight alignment as soon as you lift the gun up. And then the cool thing is Pardini, they will take that grip that you have now that looks like a modern art masterpiece that's covered in Bondo and sanding marks, filing marks, etc. They will scan that and then they will actually replicate it into a solid piece of wood. And that's exactly what we see here. This being Alex's personal grip. I'm sure he had a model that was all messed up, and then they made him that exact same grip shape out of a solid piece of wood like this one. And you can see his initials carved in there, and again, the stickers and everything on the side. It's really cool. I found this to actually fit my hand almost perfectly. I guess me and Alex have very similar hand sizes, hand shapes. So this actually did fit me well, and it's what I used when I was shooting it. Fit me a little better than the factory one for sure. The other main point of adjustability when it comes to fitting the shooter is going to be the trigger. So not only can the trigger be adjusted in its position, that is how far forward it is, how far back it is, you can also adjust the angle it sits in this direction. You can also take the trigger shoe, which is the flat portion that your finger actually rests on. You can take that and adjust it vertically. You can also adjust the angle at which it faces. Now the cool thing about the Pardinis is how you can actually adjust the trigger mechanically speaking. So essentially, it comes from the factory. It's designed as a two-stage trigger. So essentially, a two-stage trigger is broken up into two stages, and you have that initial first stage, which provides some resistance. Typically, you then hit a wall, and then that wall provides the second stage resistance, and then when that wall breaks, then the shot goes off. You can adjust this two-stage trigger to increase the length of the first stage, increase the length of the second stage. You can adjust it for pre-travel, you can adjust it for over-travel. You can get rid of the first stage entirely and turn it into a single-stage trigger if you wanted. You can also adjust the weight from, somewhere around 1,000 grams for 22 long rifle competition to over 1,360 grams, which is the standard for international centerfire competition. So this is probably one of the most, if not the most adjustable trigger on the market. The other point of adjustability are going to be the sights. You can, like most of these pistols, you can adjust the width of the rear sight notch. You can make it wider, you can make it thinner. You can also swap out the front sight post for wider ones or thinner ones, whatever you like. And of course, the rear sight is totally adjustable for windage and elevation. You also have a rail that is integral to the frame that you can actually mount a scope ring to natively, so you could put a red dot or something on it if you wanted to. So overall, you just have a great degree of adjustability with these pistols. You don't have the ability to adjust the rake like you do on like the Steyr air pistol I showed off. But essentially, you kind of want this very forward angle on a pistol like this for the disciplines that this is used in, because these are rapid fire disciplines, and that angle actually puts the bore more in line with your forearm. It helps negate some of that recoil, keeps the sights aligned through recoil, keeps the sights aligned as you lift the gun up every single time. And so that's why that's not adjustable, and it is set at the angle that it is, because it's frankly an advantage. And if you look at every Olympic level 25 meter sport pistol and rapid fire shooter, they have this very pointed forward grip like this for a reason. And also the decision to put the magazine in front of the trigger guard allows that barrel to be even lower. So, I mean, the bore axis on this pistol is basically in line with the web of my hand right here. So it's pretty impressive. And I did shoot this gun at least a couple hundred rounds. I noticed that when I pulled the trigger and the shot broke, the sights stayed perfectly together through the shot. It kind of rocked me a little bit, right? Moves your hand just a little bit, but the sights stay together, which is the most important thing, and it brings you right back down on target. So operation of this pistol is very simple. You have the magazine forward of the trigger guard, and it releases just like an AK with a little paddle release. You press forward, magazine comes out. You have the standard 5-shot magazine here, high quality magazines with a little tab on the side to help you with loading. Now, as a side note, one interesting feature of these Pardini pistols is that the ejector is actually built into the magazine. So if you wanted to unload this pistol after making it hot, you would not unload it like you would a conventional firearm by dropping the magazine and racking the bolt. You would just go through and rack the bolt 5 times. That's what I found to be easiest. 5-shot magazines, because in 25 meter rapid fire and 25 meter sport pistol, you're not shooting more than 5 rounds at a time anyway. There are more magazines available than this that come in 10 rounders. I think there's even like a 30 rounder. Load up your magazine, insert it into the magazine well, press it in until it clicks, and now we have our bolt here. You can see there's 2 little wings on the side of the bolt here. You just run the bolt back, let it go forward. Now you've chambered around, and now you can shoot the pistol 5 times in your rapid fire string and hopefully get all 9.7s or above. And also typically these pistols would come with a safety right here above the trigger guard, but with how these pistols are handled and used in sport, that safety is mainly there to comply with import regulations and stuff like that. And you can see Alex on this particular pistol disabled his. The operation is extremely simple. It's just a direct blowback. You essentially have the weight of the bolt and the recoil spring counteracting the forces of the 22 long rifle cartridge. What exactly makes this gun so special and used exclusively by these athletes? Well, to find out, we're going to go ahead and actually field strip the firearm. So field stripping for cleaning and maintenance and that sort of thing, and also user serviceability, because there's a really cool feature about this gun, is very simple. All you need is a 4mm Allen key, which I believe is included with the pistol, and you unscrew the grip just through this hole in the bottom right here, and you can remove the grip, swap that out, do whatever you need to do. And I also think there's a point of trigger adjustment down there as well. To remove the barrel assembly, because you can actually take the entire barrel assembly off, you take a 4mm Allen key and you put it in this hole in the front and you unscrew it until it pops off, and the bolt will come out and the barrel will come out as well. Now that we have the gun apart, let's go ahead and take a look at the bolt. So this bolt is specifically the rapid fire bolt, and you can see that it's very skeletonized, very lightweight, and that's to increase the cycle time of the rapid fire pistol. Depending on the model of Pardini you get, you could have heavier bolts or lighter bolts depending on the application. For bullseye, I think it prefers a little heavier bolt to keep that round locked up just a little bit longer before it pushes that bolt out the way. Rapid fire, what you need is cycle time, because these guys are shooting 5 targets that are about that big at 25 meters. They're doing it in 4 seconds from a low ready. So they're bringing the gun up and shooting 5 shots, trying to hit an area like that big at 25 meters in 4 seconds. I actually tried timing myself and doing this, and I got like 2 shots off after my lift before I started timing out. So damn it. It's really impressive how fast these guys are able to shoot and how accurately they're able to shoot. And of course, you never want to have an instance where you outrun the trigger. So that's why the lightened bolt, the faster cycle time, is preferred for the rapid fire variant. But we can actually take the barrel assembly down just one step further. There are 2 torque screws on the front plate here that you can remove. And when you do that, you see this series of springs and rods. These rods are actually made out of tungsten, which is about twice the density of steel, and this is what makes the Pardini so special. It has a built-in mass dampener, and what's going on is as the gun wants to recoil backwards, the rods want to stay in place and push the gun back forward again, and then the springs are just there to reset the position of the rods every single time. You pull the trigger, the gun goes back, the rods essentially stay in place until they bottom out the springs and hit that faceplate, and then the gun now wants to go forward again. And what you get is essentially a recoil impulse that practically doesn't exist. The sights stay perfectly together through the shot, which is the most important thing. And this is part of the reason why the rapid fire version typically costs a little bit more than other versions, because tungsten is not cheap to produce, it's not cheap to refine, it's not cheap to machine. Some of these models will come with steel rods, others will come with fewer rods. The user can also decide how many rods they want and in what location. Now, obviously, when you're taking the faceplate off, just be careful because it is under a little bit of spring tension. You don't want to scratch anything up. And then when you're putting it back on too, just be careful because it is, again, under spring tension. So now that we've got the barrel assembly back together, let's go ahead and talk about the other cool feature about the Pardini, and that's how modular it is. So you could actually take this barrel assembly off and put on a longer barrel assembly. You could put on a 32 auto barrel assembly and swap the magazine and swap the bolt. So now you have, with one frame, you have a 22 long rifle and a 32 auto, so you can compete in both international rimfire and international centerfire competition. And part of that ability to adjust the trigger weight to 1,360 grams is also to meet the requirements of international centerfire. You can also get barrels that have an integral Picatinny rail if you wanted to mount a forward red dot or something like that. Now, Pardini also even has like a rifle kit they have. So they have a stock that you can put on this and a 16-inch barrel. And they also have like longer banana magazines that curve outwards and have, I think, 30 rounds of capacity. So to put the gun back together, it's very simple. We take our bolt, our recoil spring, and guide rod, we place it back into the frame, and then we put our barrel assembly back on. It has a locator pin to make sure that you aren't getting it misaligned or anything like that. And you're just going to slide that on and then screw in that 4mm bolt in the front and make sure that it's tight. To put the grip back on, again, we're just going to put the grip on the bottom of the gun and screw it in with that 4mm Allen key. So that's pretty much why Olympic level shooters use the Pardini pretty much exclusively, because not only is it extremely customizable for the trigger and the grip provides it a really low bore axis, so does that forward magazine design, and then with that recoil dampening system, it allows them to be able to make those accurate shots as quickly as they do at 25 meters. Not only that, this pistol is popular with all sorts of international shooters, especially in Europe, where they have restrictions on the number of firearms they can own, and with the frame being the firearm, they can own different barrel assemblies and they can have multiple pistols in one that satisfies different needs for different sports that they shoot. If they're shooting 25-meter sport pistol or 25-meter rapid fire pistol or even 25-meter center fire pistol, they can convert it just by swapping out the barrel, the bolt, and the magazines. So thank you very much to Pardini USA for putting one of these in my hands. If after watching this video you are interested in knowing more about the Pardini, I have more information that I can't really share on YouTube, but you can go to my Discord link in my description and I can share with you there. I'll have a channel set up with information of the Pardini. Also, if you like this type of video, I have a whole series talking talking about the Olympics and the equipment and some of the fundamentals. Thank you to my channel members for supporting the channel directly. You too can become a channel member by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Giampiero Pardini. Pardini. Got it.